Tarek, look at these world leaders. Incredible. From Boris Johnson there to Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Vladimir Putin, Emmanuel Macron, Angela Merkel. They couldn't agree a ceasefire. Isn't that therefore a failure of the Berlin Conference?
Well, I don't think we should characterize it either as a success or as a failure, because this kind of gatherings, high-level dignitaries, head of states, prime ministers, they usually, when they gather, it's already scripted. Washington Post today said that the communique was drafted a month ago, so they agreed about it, and it's only then that they came to discuss. But I think the conference, even though they didn't deliver what many people were speculating about, at least it's brought, in the words of Angela Merkel, the German Chancellor, a new momentum for peace, and I think this is how we should perceive this conference.
They were talking about a military commission that will go to Libya. So what's the next step in terms of that commission and any diplomacy that has to happen and actually get Haftar and Sarraj to talk face to face?
I think there is a process now. I think what they're trying to do is to have a UN supported process, and this will take time and a lot of back and forth discussions. The main takeaway yesterday was the agreement that both sides will provide 5 representatives from their side. So that's the main takeaway, and I think it's the only takeaway from yesterday. So just to kickstart these discussions between the two, as you mentioned, they didn't even agree to meet with each other. So at least there is something in motion there. I wouldn't give it a lot more credence than what it is for now, because if you see the body language of Haftar yesterday, this is a man when he was sitting with Macron and he was all happy and imbued with himself. I don't think this is a guy who's really seeking peace in the next few weeks or months.
Macron's position is an interesting one, because some people are saying that actually he wouldn't mind too much if Haftar took control of all of Libya. And then it would be a bit like Abdel Fattah al-Sisi deposing Mohamed Morsi, an elected president, and Sisi being recognized by the international community. Some people say Macron would do that if Haftar took control of the whole of Libya. But how much is Macron indicative of problems within the European Union? When you have to get 28 states to agree on a foreign policy issue, how much division is there within the European Union?
I'm glad, Adnan, that you brought this point. I think France is a main problem in this regard, because it's still prisoner of a 19th century colonial diplomacy, whereby they try to just put their interests without any regard or any esteem for democracy or human rights, and all the slogans that the French have in their usual day-to-day life about democracy, fraternity, equality, all that. But in reality, they are supporting a strong man, the so-called strong man in Africa, and trying to push these dictators or would-be dictators on board and give them legitimacy. I think it's quite a shame, because somebody like Haftar, a warlord, shouldn't be given that much status as France is giving him, and the support that goes with it. I think the EU is split. This is a main problem. We have seen now the entrance into the fore of Germany is a very positive thing, because Germany is not prisoner of that colonial mindset. Italy is trying to shift slowly its positions, but the main problem remains France. If and it's a big if, Germany managed to rein in Macron via different means of diplomatic means and even financial means, maybe we can see some semblance of peace sooner rather than later in Libya.
Tarek, really appreciate it. As always, Tarek Cherkaoui.